Hello, Mrs. Saunders here. Welcome back to Kaffenate Math. Today's video is brought to you by the House of Ravenclaw. Many thanks to one of our Scottish viewers for this mug. So this is the last video in a three-part series on rational numbers. In the first video, I took you back in time to ancient Egypt to check out what rational numbers are and where they came from. In the second video, we learned how to apply the concept of opposites and absolute value to rational numbers. And in this final lesson, we'll check out how to order and compare rational numbers. Or, fractions. Or decimals. No, wait. See, I get confused because I understand that rational numbers can be in the form of either decimals or fractions, but what do we do when they're all mixed up? Okay, ancient Egypt, it's been fun, but we're moving into the 21st century now, and we've got to figure out how to get these fractions and decimals organized, okay? Let's get this party started. Fractions and decimals, oh, where do we even start? I think a number line would help. This one goes from 0 to 1, broken into 10 parts. Now I could label it with decimals like this. I could even squeeze in a few that aren't necessarily on one of the tick marks. But I could also have labeled it with fractions. Uh-oh. Some of those aren't simplified. Okay, that's better. Now they're all simplified. And of course I could squeeze in some that aren't on a tick mark again. Are you with me so far? Okay, now check out these two numbers. They're both labeling this point on the number line. And if they both represent the same number, then they actually are the same number. They just look different. We say that decimals and fractions that represent the same value or space on the number line are equivalent. And that concept comes in really handy when you're handed a group of numbers that looks like this. If you need to order or compare these, it can be a bit overwhelming. So here's a hint. It's way easier to work with numbers when they're all in the same format. Basically, we need to make them all fractions or all decimals. I'll show you both. Let's start by making them all decimals. Here's a group of numbers that needs order. So we'll start by making them all decimals. 1/4 becomes 0.25. Well, 0.1 is the same. 3 over 10 becomes 0.3. 0.8 is good. 3/4 is 0.75, and 1/2 is 0.5. Oh, well that already looks better. But now, if you need to write the numbers in order from least to greatest, it's going to be a piece of cake. Let's bring up another number line, and we'll just plot these. Ta-da! Okay, now by making them all decimals, it's just really easy to put them in order. Now the other way, as I mentioned, would be to make them all fractions. Here's another group of numbers that needs to be ordered. Now to be honest, this one is a bit trickier, but it's not that bad. You just need to remember 2 steps. First, you write all the decimals as equivalent fractions, and then you need to write all the fractions with a common denominator. Let's just start with step 1, writing all the decimals as equivalent fractions. The first one, 0.5, is relatively easy. That's 1/2. But this decimal, 0.45, well, it isn't quite as obvious. So how do we make that one into a fraction? Well, if you think about 0.45 and its decimal place value, you'll know that 0.45 is 45 hundredths. And there's your fraction. Of course, we need to reduce it, so then we would get 9/20ths, and voila, we've completed step 1. Now step 2 is to write all the fractions with the same denominator. As you can see, we have a bit of work to do. The first thing is to find the least common multiple of all of these numbers. So the least common multiple of 4, 2, 5, and 20 would be 20. Then we'll have to rewrite each fraction with the denominator of 20. So let's do that. Okay, the first one. How do you get from 4 to 20? Well, you multiply by 5. So anything you do to the bottom of a fraction, you have to do to the top also. So we'll multiply the top by 5 as well. 1 times 5 is 5. Fantastic. Okay, next one. How do we get from 2 to 20? Well, you multiply by 10. So then 1 times 10 is 10. And the next one, to get from 5 to 20, we multiply by 4. So we do 2 times 4 as well, and we get 8. Last one, we've got 20 to 20. Oh, well, that's already done. So the last fraction just stays the same. Now, if we have to compare or order these, it's simple. We just need to look at the numerators and put them in order. Voila, there we go. And we'll stop there for today. Let's see what we've covered. In order to compare and order rational numbers, we said goodbye to ancient math for now, and we popped into the 21st century to learn how to work with fractions and decimals. Now, the most important thing to remember is that it's easier to work with numbers that are all in the same format. Okay, now you have a great day, and I will see you next time. Don't worry, Ancient Egypt. We won't forget you.